Welcome to our February meeting, and for those of you watching the recording, why aren't you here in the snow? All right. With that said, today's topic is getting help, getting support. Actually, this was a topic suggested in part by Brian, because he wanted me to do a topic on the BBS. And if I'd have just said a topic on the BBS, half of you wouldn't have come. Because you either wouldn't have cared, you wouldn't have known what it was, you wouldn't have thought to come because of what that was, or you already know how to use it. So rather than try and make a topic that only would attract a few, I decided to make it a broader topic where, of course, we will talk about how to use the IBBS in that topic. So you were tricked. All right, not really. So getting help, getting support, getting answers to your questions, getting technical issues solved, troubleshooting, all of the above. That's what we're here to talk about today. I'm going to take you through a few methods, and then we'll just open it up for general how-tos, Q&As, questions, and so forth and so on. So what I ask is you're going to get your chance to ask me anything you want if you just wait till I'm done. Fair enough? All right, we're going to open it up. This won't take long. You can ask all the questions you want. So I'm going to walk you through a few things because, like you, I need help too from time to time. So who do I call? What do I do? How do I get help? So let me walk you through my methods, and then, like I said, we'll open it up. You can talk about anything you want. So the first thing, I have it open. It's my best friend. Has been for years. Google. Google and Yahoo and all the search engines of the past started out as things we typed keywords into. Like you type Macintosh, comma, hard drive, and hope that it came up with something. And if you're thinking that's the way these search engines work, you're way, way, way out of date. Because you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to think about keywords. You don't have to think about how is it indexed in the system and I have to talk in a certain language. When I want to know something, I ask the same question I would ask a human. How do I do blank? And 9 times, I would say 99% of the time, it comes back with an answer that I want in the first 5 results. So don't think about search engines as I have to search for specific hard keywords that will bring up what I want. Just ask what you want to know how to do. If you get an error message, chances are you're not the first one to get that error message. Type the error message in exactly as it's worded. If it has a code, that even makes it better. Type it in with the code because that narrows it down to exactly the same message you're getting. And more than likely, since you weren't the first one with that problem, someone's already asked the question, and more than likely, someone's already answered it. So you're just going to read the results. So I'll throw one out here at random. How do I get home? Yeah. How do I? You see what kind of things people ask.
See if Flash is installed.
I already know how to do it. How do I back up my iPhone? So, first one is from ask.com. The second one is from support, directly from Apple. The third one is directly from Apple. And the fourth one is directly from Apple. So then I would just click on maybe the first one, or probably the second one since it's from Apple, and read whatever it says. Now, I may not agree with what it says. I didn't say this is going to be the end. I didn't say this was God. In other words, that this is the end-all, be-all. It's going to be 100% correct every single time. But more than likely, it's going to give you enough information to either solve the problem or ask another question. So, for example, I would probably click here. And it's walking me through it, all the various ways. And I'm either done or I'm not. Okay, so here, let's do this. Bluetooth won't connect on my iPhone. You're not the only one having a problem. After iOS 7, Bluetooth won't pair. Now, the Apple support communities, that's not necessarily Apple directly, but that's someone else that asked the question on Apple's forums. And usually there will be a long discussion thread with people jumping in with suggestions on how to fix it, or in some cases, even Apple jumping in with solutions, or pointing you to a tech doc that solves the problem. Here's someone that said, oh, and this one says it was solved. This is what I did. So this is why I first turn to Google every time. The only time I don't use Google is when I've used Google and I couldn't find what I was looking for and I have to go to the second thing. And that's so rare, I don't even think of what the second thing might be. Because more than likely, whatever question I'm asking has already been asked by someone else and has been answered. Because I am rarely the first one to have a specific, unique problem. And if I am, then I turn to step number 2, which we're about to see. So, got it? Google, ask it, plain English, and more than likely your results will come up. Also, what if you're debating buying something? And you're trying to choose between 2 different things? Then you type in thing number 1 versus thing number 2. And more than likely, you'll find 100 people have already done that comparison. You can just read through the results. And that might help sway your decision one way or the other, just by reading the experiences that other people have had. What if you are set on one thing and you just want to know what other people have experienced with it? Then type in thing, whatever it is, review. And you'll come up with hundreds of reviews that people have already done. Most likely some of them are even video reviews. So Google is your most powerful resource for finding answers and getting help. Now, like I said, it's not 100%. And sometimes you may have that unique situation that hasn't been addressed by someone. Then what? Or maybe it's something specific to your account or specific to your circumstances that no one else would be able to have because they're not you. So in that case, now you need direct support, directly from the company dealing with your case, your account, your login, your settings. Unfortunately, tech companies have given us a bad taste of calling support, of actually talking to a human being. So much so that we cringe at the thought of picking up the phone and even dialing a toll-free number because of, I'll name the top ones. You're going to spend a ton of time on hold. You're going to be talking to someone in another country with an accent that you can't understand. They're not going to really know the answer because they're reading a script. Well, whatever. They're usually always nice, but you describe your problem in detail. They try to tell you things you've already tried. And then they say they can't help you, so they have to bump you up to the next level, which you then wait on hold again. And you have to start all over again, describing the whole problem all over again. Sound familiar? Okay. Those are the reasons why we hate calling support. If you don't get dropped along the way, and that goes without saying. So, those are the most common reasons we hate picking up the phone. I've got a device, I won't name the name, I've got a device on my desk right now that I know if I call, they will send me a new one because it's defective and it's still under warranty. They will send me a new one just like that. It's been sitting there for a couple months because I've just not had the time that it would take to sit on the phone to wait for them to say, okay, we'll send you a new one. Because that's all it would take. And every time I sit down and look at it, it's like, yeah, I need to make that call. Oh, not later. And I just don't do it. And I know I'm running out of time. I have to do it soon because eventually it will be out of warranty. But that's why I'm like you. I hate making that call unless I can put it on speaker and do something else while I'm waiting. So in those cases when I need to talk to someone directly and I don't want to use the phone, believe it or not, there's a hidden support mechanism that many companies now employ that most people don't take advantage of because they just don't realize it's there. It's called social media. Social media. Believe it or not, there are highly qualified technical support people in the U.S. monitoring whatever brand it is, their Twitter channel or Facebook page or whatever, that will answer your question free of charge. And I know half of you poo-poo on social media. You think you don't need it. I don't need Twitter. I don't need to tweet anything. I don't care what people are having for lunch. I don't need Facebook. I don't have friends. I don't care. Half of you feel that way about social media. It's just something you don't need. You don't use. You don't need to talk about what you're doing. But then you're missing the point. That is one aspect of social media that you are absolutely right. You do not have to participate in. But if you're not using it for what it's valuable for, then you're missing out on a free resource. So for example, if I need to talk to Delta, I fly Delta all the time, and it's not urgent, meaning it's not like something I need to talk to them right now, then I will pick up the 800 number and get right through. But if it's something I don't need right this second, or it's a problem I had that I want them to resolve or compensate me for, and I don't need it right this second, I'm not going to call them. You know where I'm going to go? Twitter to Delta Assist. And I'm going to type in a message to @DeltaAssist. I'm going to tell them in 140 characters what the problem was, and someone is going to respond to me before the day is over. And I didn't have to wait on hold, and I'm going to get my answer. Now again, if it's urgent, I'm not going to waste time on this because it could take a day. It could take till tomorrow. It's the weekend. It might take till Tuesday because Monday's a holiday. But if it's not urgent, I will absolutely do this. Now, someone mentioned Adobe a minute ago. Adobe Care is on Twitter. Got a question, an Adobe question, a Photoshop question, a Lightroom question, a InDesign question, a Creative Cloud question, or whatever question, ask them. And these are, again, higher level support than the support you would get on your first phone call. So most brands now have these accounts where you can just go ask them a question right there. If not on Twitter, or on Facebook, or both. So when it's not urgent, when I don't need an answer right this second, I just tweet it to them. How would I do that? Glad you asked. So first is probably, it behooves you to follow them. So I'm on the Mac Group account, which I haven't followed any of these companies yet. So let me go ahead and follow them. Okay, so now that I'm following them, that gives me permission. Well, I didn't need to follow them to do that, but it helps them get back to me because they see that I'm following them. I could go to the compose a new tweet, and in the compose a new tweet thing, I would then just say @Adobe Care, whatever my question is. How to folder on Creative Cloud. Tweet. And since I did it under the Mac Group account, they're not going to say, you work here, you already know. So we'll see. Now, again, it's the weekend. I probably won't get that answer back today. But I will more than likely get it back tomorrow or the next day. And it wasn't urgent. It was just a how-to question that whenever I get the answer, that's good enough for me. But if it's during the work hours, more than likely you'll get the answer before the business day is over.
Can you delete that tweet after you sent it?
Sure.
If you said something that maybe you wanted.
You can delete it. That doesn't mean you stop people from seeing it, because the minute I tweeted it, it is being seen right now. So I can take it off the record, but once it's seen, it's seen.
Is there a way of flagging your message to show it's urgent?
No. You can say urgent, respond to me now, but that doesn't change anything. It doesn't move you to the top. It doesn't make them respond to you any faster. So, not really. All right, so Twitter is one. Facebook is another. And most of these companies have fan pages on Facebook for the company. And usually if the company has multiple products, there's a page for each product. So if I wanted to go to, for example, facebook.com/Adobe Muse, there's the Adobe Muse page. And again, there's things being posted by Adobe about Adobe Muse and tips and tricks and all that. And there are people that can post and just ask questions. So,
They're like a
social, well, again, but it's being monitored by people that work there. And the Facebook page is, of course, being used by users. So you might get a user that responds to you quicker than the company. Say, hey, yeah, I have the same problem. Here's how you do it. Now, Apple doesn't really do the whole social media thing, but Apple has their own support discussion boards, which we just saw earlier. Support.apple.com. You can pick your product, or just join the conversation and jump right to the communities. Ask your question. Or do a search for things you think might have already been asked, which we could have done on Google, which would have led us here anyway. So when I've got an Apple-specific weirdness, I either Google it or go right here and type it. And usually, because this is being monitored by people all over the world 24 hours a day. So usually the responses are going to start rolling in almost immediately. Especially if it's something basic or simple or a problem that others have had and solved. So don't hesitate to go online to ask your question unless your question is about why I can't get online. Then you've got a different problem that needs to be solved on the phone. How do you know when you get an answer? Most of these will email you when your question has been not necessarily answered, but someone has posted. So you don't have to keep coming back here. When you go to log in and do this, it will automatically flag questions you ask to your email address to email you back when someone's responded. So you don't have to sit on it all day. You'll just get an email when someone's responded to it. Then if you're happy with the response, it solved your problem, you can do like that other guy did. He marked it solved, and therefore people can stop responding and see what the solution was. And that way you won't keep getting emails with people responding after the problem's been solved. All right. So those are my first channels of support. Google, the specific company I'm having an issue with, there are various ways of doing it, whether it's a social media thing or a specific discussion community. Last but not least, before the phone, when all else fails, I ask you guys via our own support mechanism, the Mac Group Internet Bulletin Board Service, or IBBS for short. I don't ask a ton on here because usually the other methods I've already talked about work first. Usually Google, because it's just faster. Someone's already answered it. Type it in, search, boom, there's my answer. I don't have to wait for one of you guys to respond. But when all those other ones fail, I come here. Or if I've discovered something as a workaround or fix or whatever, I'll post it here. So if others are going to have that issue, they see it right away. So how does this work? Well, first and foremost, let's go to the main page of it. So if you go to the main page, which you can do as a guest, you don't even have to create an account for this part. You can see the categories, and you can Here, let's get down to the, yep, okay, at the top. There's a software support and a hardware support, and then just other open discussion areas. So, for example, if it doesn't fall into hardware or software, then most people are going to post it in open discussion. Let's say it's hardware. I just want to see what's being discussed. Okay, so someone started a thing on home network IP assignment problems. Solid state drive connections to the iPod, iPad mini, and Wi-Fi problem, and it just goes on and on and on. So I'm interested in an iPad mini. What was the Wi-Fi problem? Okay, Phyllis had the problem. All of a sudden, her iPad mini stopped connecting to a router. Dave McGuire, who works for Apple, said try resetting it or have it forget the network and try it. She says did that. Problem was apparently with the router. One by one, so all my stuff went offline, so she looks like she replaced the router or rebooted it, and everything was fine. That's how it works. Ask a question, people respond, and we keep responding until hopefully your question's solved. Just like if Rich had asked that question tonight after being a member and setting up his account about his Bluetooth, we would have gone in and started telling him the same things we told him here in person.
One of the really greatest things everybody could do.
Sure.
When it gets solved, just say, problem solved.
Right. Because again, it's just like I said about the Apple one. If you don't mark it solved, or you don't say that, hey, I fixed it, or it fixed itself, or whatever, then we're going to keep coming back and asking things and looking at it to make sure that you're getting help. So, how does this work? Let's start from the beginning. Let's go back. Now, I'm already logged in. So I'm going to log out. And so now I'm not logged in. Now it's just login/register. So every member, every paid member here is entitled to have an account here. And back when this first started, you would join and I would set up a username and password for you and email it to you. That hasn't happened in years. Not because I don't do it anymore, because I don't do it anymore, meaning I don't have to. When Rich joined today and he now wants to set up an account on here, he's going to go to this page, which, by the way, you can get to it from our here, let me show you where it is on the homepage. So if you go to MacGroup.org and you go to members, IBBS. So that's how you get to it if you didn't know the URL to it. Once you're there, it says log in and register. The register part would be for someone who's a new member. You're going to go ahead and click log in and register, and you're going to say, I'm not registered, which I think is the default anyway. And once you say I'm not registered, it's going to walk you through the process of you creating your own username, your own password. It's going to ask you, the one question it's going to ask you for is your membership number. That's how, because this is being seen by people all over the world, and people try and jump in and join. And if they don't have a membership number, and you should see some of the ones they make up, by the way. If they don't have a membership number, then it's not a benefit to people that aren't members. People that aren't members can look, but I don't want people that aren't members asking questions, because this is your resource, not the world's. So once you create your own account, I get an email that says, Rich just joined the IBBS, and then I approve it once I see that Rich is a legitimate member. So that's the only thing I do is click approve. Then he logs back in with his same username and password and everything he created. That's how it works.
You're a member, but you don't know you're a member.
Then usually that's when I get the email saying, hey, I want to join the IBBS, but I forgot my membership number, and I reply back with what it is. After I look you up and make sure you are, in fact, a member.
How long does that take?
How long does what take?
You just said, in other words, I go on, I register, and then I have to wait a period of time. How long?
Well, you should. It will depend. If you register at 3 in the morning, then you won't get a response from me until I wake up and I look at it and I click approve. If I'm on a plane or if I'm busy. So it shouldn't take more than a day. And by the way, if anyone's not gotten their thing approved, and by the way, if you think it's taken longer than it should, email me, because that means that somehow it slipped through the cracks on my end. So if you registered and, hey, you never got your approval message, or you didn't get your membership number or whatever, send me the email. I will look into it as quickly as I can. But it shouldn't, like I said, under normal conditions, shouldn't take more than a day. Okay, so once you're registered and logged in, which I just logged back in, I can now go in and, first of all, and let me make this perfectly clear. You only need to ask your question once. Because what people will see is, well, it is a hardware issue. So they'll ask it there. But it's got something to do with the software too. And then they'll ask it there. And then I kind of just want to discuss it, and then I'll ask it again in open discussions. Don't do that. Because no matter where you put it, we see it. So you don't have to ask it in more places because you think we won't see it in all the places that you are posting it in. One time, wherever you decide is fine. So I want to ask a new hardware question. So I jump to hardware, and then no matter what category you're in, there's the new button. So I click new discussion, because I'm asking a new question that's not listed here. So my question is, and I have to go look up what it's called. Hang on for a minute. Moby, okay. Will the Wi-Fi Moby cards allow raw files? It's a real question, and I could go look it up, but I'm doing a demo here. All right, I would have Googled that, by the way. So, let's see. I'm considering getting, and someone's Googling that for me right now so they know the answer so they can respond to this, right? All right, anyway, I'm considering getting a new Wi-Fi card for my second camera. Didn't need to capitalize that. I noticed the new Wi-Fi Moby cards are cheaper because they are geared to allow you to only transfer to mobile devices. However, do they allow you to shoot in RAW? Okay, that's my question. Post.
It doesn't hurt to put the question in the body as well, because that helps the thought process of the person.
I did.
No, you put it in. Oh, well, yeah, you did at the end.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and that's really good, but a lot of people don't.
Okay.
And if the question, I really have difficulty seeing the title.
Okay, so to his point, you can ask the question in the title. And by the way, don't make your title, I have a question. When people, don't make your title, I have a question. That bugs the crap out of me when people call me and leave a message and say, I have a question. Then why didn't you just ask it? Anyway, don't do that. Just ask whatever the question is. You don't have to announce it. All right, so ask your question. Now, if I hit refresh, no one's addressed it yet. Because you guys are looking it up, right? To address it. There we go. It appears not. Looks like only the Pro X2 Sports Raw. And he's giving me a link to actually go look at it. Ooh, or somebody else might have even asked the same topic. All right, so I'm going to hit reply and say, thanks, Jack. That's what I figured.
Actually, that's what you needed to know.
Ahead and get the Pro X2 card. All right. Close now. Problem solved. Question asked, question responded to. Not only that, with a link to either where this is already being discussed, or a link to the manufacturer's site or whatever, where I can go look and get more details. And I respond to let everyone else know. Got it. Thanks. So what is the benefit of the topic for members only? It was originally set up for me to post things that only members see and not the world, because the world without a login can't see that stuff.
Right. But whatever gets posted there.
Right.
Nothing.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
And whatever gets posted there, the rest of them see.
Stuff that is specific to our group and membership that is not designed for the rest of the world to see.
Okay, because a lot of people use the system.
And that hurts us how?
You know,
It just bugs you.
it makes no sense.
Got it. Okay. So what he's referring to is, we go back to the subjects. There is a for members only area. And that is, it was again originally set up when we're discussing things that are specific to our membership, or individuals in the membership, someone passed and here are the funeral services, so forth and so on. Things that the rest of the world don't care about, nor do we care that they see. That's all it was set up for. But some people are just asking general questions in there that could go in the other areas. It doesn't hurt anything, but there's really no reason to put a general question in the for members only area. And it bugs Brian, so stop.
Unless that's why you do it.
Yeah. So now everyone go and post a question in there tonight.
Well, it's also possible that you trust the general membership of the group more than the whole world, and you don't want to have to sift through answers from the whole
Well,
world.
they can't answer.
The whole world can't answer, they can only see.
Well, I understand that, but you keep your information more private.
Okay. So I know some people were originally asking questions there because they were embarrassed they didn't want the whole world to see, but
Yeah.
okay. There's no reason to put a question in there unless it's private to the group. Something specific about our group, something specific about this location, so forth and so on. Right, what our company picnic's going to be, whatever. Now, this bulletin board, by the way, is not just for questions. So the first section is usually for questions and support and help. And the second section is for special interest, which this probably could be updated. And the last area is for just announcements. I'm selling something. I need to buy something. I'm willing to trade something. I'm giving something away for free. I don't need this stuff anymore. Come get it. So if you want to make announcements to the membership, you can do that at the bottom. Got something for sale and want to sell it, maybe more locally than putting it on eBay or something like that? Great place to do that here. And I've seen a ton of things get sold that way. Like, I'm selling a camera and I'll bring it to the next meeting. I'm asking $200 for it. Anyone want it? Let me know. And people start chiming in. And that person brings it in, and more than likely they leave without it. So don't forget, the bulletin board is part of your membership. It's probably one of the most valuable pieces of your membership from what people have been telling me for years. Like they said, change pretty much whatever you want, but don't get rid of the bulletin board. So we've had this for years for this reason.
What was the second item that you gave? Second reason?
Second reason for what?
You gave 3 categories.
First category, general support. Second category for special interests. You just want to discuss things that are of a special interest. Like back in the day, we had a desktop publishing special interest group that used to meet here before the main meetings. We used to have an internet special interest group. And this is where they could go in and talk about specific things to those interests. And we haven't used this specifically in a while, but if there was a category you wanted added, just let me know and we can set that up.
There are probably a bunch of eligible for removal.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, there's probably a ton of pruning that can be done.
I remember how frustrated I got just starting here, and this alleged video group on the list.
Yeah.
That it doesn't exist.
Right. So we used to have a member that used to do outings and group things for a digital video group, and she hasn't done that in years. So I don't know if I'd have to look at the messages to see if the messages are no longer valid, but the topic doesn't stop anyone from jumping in there and discussing new things about digital video. So it's just whether or not the messages are dated that you don't need to look at anymore. Now, if I remember correctly, and I'd have to go look at the settings, I think a lot of this stuff gets pruned after so long anyway, like automatically. In other words, I think I had it set up that if a message was on there, I don't know, don't quote me on this, but let's say 2 years, then it would automatically get deleted because it's just 2 years old, most likely no longer relevant. So I'd have to go back and look at that setting. So a lot of this stuff should be disappearing anyway if it's ancient. And maybe that's a good question I'll ask you. What should that limit be? Year? 2? 6 months? How long do you think information should sit here?
How many people still have Mac Classics?
6 months would be long enough.
You guys think 6 months is enough?
No. Sometimes I sit back off because I remember it ends. That helps me.
Okay, so what would it be?
Maybe
A year?
6 months.
Okay, that's 6 months too soon, I agree. Maybe a year?
Terry?
All right, back to the 2 years I originally said.
What's the cost of keeping something 3 years instead of 6 months?
There isn't one. It's just, it makes it so you have to sift through more stuff.
So the cost is you
Time.
have to be more specific in your search criteria and include a date.
Okay.
Or even nothing.
All right, so it sounds like keep the 2 year thing if that's what I originally had it set for. I'll go look. All right. Pardon? Oh, show search. Yeah. There is a search. There's a find. So you can do a keyword search, which again, back in the old days, that's how we would do it. Or you can do an advanced search. And if you can do an advanced search, it is still keyword based, or you can do an exact phrase, or with all of these words, or without these words. And you can even narrow down where you want it to look through the messages. If you thought that you saw something a while back in a specific area, you can say just search that area. So for example, I'm interested to see, since I brought this up earlier, who else is talking about iFi cards? So I don't need to search polls. I don't need to search photo albums. I can search by date, by the way, or at least order by date. I can search by date. So if I say I don't really care about iFi cards that were 5 years old, then I wouldn't go back that far if messages were that old. So here are all the topics that iFi was being discussed. And I can go through and read the ones that look interesting.
So you've got 2006.
Yep.
2004.
All right, so, and again, I have to go back and look at if the setting is even on or what I had it set to. Am I running out of room? No. Well, again, it gets back to the keep it forever, or does it just become irrelevant?
It's a reference library.
All right. How many say keep it forever?
More specific.
2 years. 3. 5. I just want to see who was really saying forever. All right. 5 years in tech is forever. Okay, so it sounds like the majority of you say 2 years. Did I see the hands right? I'll grant that 1 is maybe too soon.
I think you should put it in topic.
We can make it a poll too. Yeah.
Can you adjust it based on topic, like for sale items?
I'd have to look. I haven't looked at that in a while, but that's a good idea too. I think it might even be a form by form setting. Like for sale, that could be 6 months, because if you haven't sold it in 6 months, relist it.
A lot of other systems have archive things that are after a certain age get shut off to a different area that isn't.
Okay. All right, but anyway, we'll debate that later. I'll put that maybe as a poll, and you guys can address it.
Does a clock reset when it's last access?
No.
Access or from it?
Oh, you mean, well, not access, but maybe responded to.
Okay.
So, like, if I go respond to one of the 2006 ones today with a new message, then now
Clock
it's,
starts over.
right, starts over.
Are these listed chronologically? Are they listed alphabetically? How are they listed in number of hits?
They're listed chronologically by topic. So if I go look at, for example, if I go look at software, the most recent posts are at the top. So someone posted something about Lightroom on January 27th in software. Oh, by the way, that was a good question. Let me go look at it. So Michael asked, he was new, he just joined the bulletin board. He asked a question about software, about Lightroom. A couple people jumped in about how, he wanted to know how to set it up. And I jumped in with a video. Said, hey, watch my video on how to set it up. Because you can post images, you can post screenshots, it doesn't have to be just text. Now, in order for me to post that video and have it actually show the video right there where you can play it, that's a little trick that most people don't know about the bulletin board, is that it does support HTML in the body. So for example, I went to YouTube. Actually, I went to my YouTube. Oh, here's the Mac Group one, so we'll do that one. So it went to Mac Group's YouTube in this case, and we'll go to the video manager. And in the video manager, let's say I wanted to refer someone to the Mavericks meeting. So I would click on the Mavericks meeting, and in the Mavericks meeting, there's a share, or all the meetings, there's a share, and then there's an embed option. So, and I usually set the size for 640. But anyway, copy this code, copy, go back to the bulletin board. Oh, wrong one, bulletin board, there you are. Bulletin board, and what I did was I created a response. So, and by the way, let me get into that too. So there's a couple of ways to respond. Actually, let me get that. I never do it this way. That's why I'm having an issue. Oh, reply. Okay, there's the general reply. That's the one I had to look for because I never used that one. That's just going to set up a new box where you type in your reply. I don't use that one because what I want to do is I usually go to someone I'm addressing and I click this option, which is quote. So they see the original thing in what I'm replying to. Now, it's not necessary, but that's the one I normally use. So, but I'll use the basic one. I'll use a regular reply. And again, it's just going to come up with a standard message. But since I want to use that embed code, if I just paste it right now, then you're just going to see code. What I want is to actually put the movie in there. So I'm going to put in first, open bracket, HTML, close bracket, then paste in whatever the HTML code, whatever you want, paste, and then open bracket, / HTML. That's it. That's all I had to do was to tell the system that everything between these two tags, HTML, close HTML, is actually rendered as HTML. So in other words, use that YouTube code to do this. And I got an error. Actually, I didn't get an error. It didn't work. Why didn't that work? I did the exact same thing there. HMTL. That would help. All right, so let's edit that. HTML, post now. There we go. So now that's the actual video that they can go watch. Now, how did I edit that? What if obviously this doesn't really apply to this topic. How do I delete it? How do I fix things that I posted or change things I posted? Well, you've got a couple buttons down here. This one is the quote reply. This one is edit or delete. So if you want to change something you've posted, or you just want to simply delete it because it's no longer relevant, then you can click that button and you will get a choice to edit, which I went in and fixed the HTML typo I did, or I can just say delete this. Delete my message, it really doesn't matter anymore. So I'll delete it since that really doesn't matter for that topic. Continue. And now it's gone. So now that's no longer the most recent message. Any questions on the IBBS?
What program did you use to create that?
It's not a program, it's a service. So, and the service has changed ownership like, I don't know, 5 times since we've been using it. Now it's, I believe, Social Strata is the name of the company, parent company that. It's where?
Black bar.
Black bar.
Powered by
Just finish the vote.
Powered by Social Strata. There it is. Which is now Hoopla.
So they charge you a monthly rate for that?
Yes, we pay for this.
That's 6 names.
Well, I don't know if this is real though, because this looks, I don't know, could be. Hoopla, yeah, this is it. Your own online community. So now it's again another company. This, I swear to God, this company has changed names more than I can count.
How do you set up your signature?
How do you set up when you set up your account, your profile? So his question was like, how does it when I do a post? How does it do this? You know, my old saying, you can never go wrong by doing the right thing. And back when I created Best App Site, I wanted people to know that site was there. And there are 2 kinds of users, those who have backed up and those who haven't. How do I do all that? Well, if you go to you can edit your profile. And there's a signature category. And you can put whatever you want in your signature. And that will be, and including putting your own picture on and all that. And that will give you your automatically closing to any new message you post. Which I should probably update mine now. Go ahead, Rich.
Considering that I just applied to join today, when can I sign up for that?
You will get your membership number via a welcome email by tomorrow. And then you will use that membership number to go and create your account. Yep. Now I'm on the hook for getting his membership number in there by tomorrow.
Those memberships, I couldn't see clearly from back here. You did parentheses, HTML?
No, the brackets above the comma and the period. The little angled, those brackets.
Okay, and then open and close.
Yes, greater than, less than, thank you. That's what they're called. Greater than, less than.
And then on the HTML on the opening?
HTML on the opening, / HTML on the close.
Yeah.
Standard HTML. that's how you do tags in HTML, yes.
Does the membership number come from your email address?
It comes from Terry at MacGroup.org, yeah.
Terry?
At MacGroup.org.
Oh, okay.
That's where it comes
from. I can find my membership now by doing the search.
Yes.
I don't even remember getting it.
That's okay. If you don't find it, just email me and say, hey, I need my membership number. And I will email it to you. My email is terry at macgroup.org. Yes.
Terry, can you take a question for findings?
Okay, well, let's finish up with IBBS and then we'll open the floor up because that was my last thing. Anything else on IBBS, and then we'll just open up the floor for anything else you want to talk about like I promised.
If somebody's not a member, can they email you on specific items?
Can they email?
Access?
Well, anyone can email me if they know my email address. That doesn't mean they're going to get a response. So it depends. Depends on what mood I'm in and if I have time.
The way to message other members.
Yeah, there's a way to message other members on the board. There's all kinds of side features to this. But those are the main ones I want to talk about from a support category.
Hey, Terry,
Yes.
at the bottom of your site, it said download. I did that, and what the heck am I doing? I quickly got rid of it.
Never download anything that you don't know what you're downloading.
Right.
So
Why was it-
I can't, it might have been an ad. I can't think of what. Well, okay, I don't know what the app was for, but don't click on things that you aren't specifically going to get. Like if you're not going for something, don't click to download something that you don't know what it is.
I thought it belonged to our site.
No, if it's an ad, it definitely did not. And if it was something we were telling you to download, we'd tell you what it was. Yes.
What does the IP mean? IP in the icon.
IP. Oh, it's probably the IP address that came from. Yeah. Helps cut down on spammers. Okay. What do you want to know? What do you want to ask, Mike?
I have a Kodak 1400 professional dye sublimation color printer. And I cannot find the latest drivers for Mac OS. Those only go to 10.3 or 10.4. See, it says any help gratefully received. I would dearly love to use this printer.
So basically what I've just scanned through without reading too closely is that, as with most hardware devices, if Kodak doesn't make a driver, which is Kodak even still in business?
Well, it went bankrupt.
Okay. I would guess that writing drivers is not their priority right now, and more than likely it doesn't exist. Especially if how old is the printer?
It's probably about 4 or 5.
Time to move on.
And use older software.
Or use older software on an older computer. Yeah. Now, how did I find the answer to Mike's question? Google.
Bing.
Typing in exactly. Bing may work too, but typing in exactly what he's asking. Kodak 1400, driver, Mac. And second choice was someone already asking the same question.
Well, if you have this vast resource of help online, do you really need Apple Care?
Yes, because people online aren't going to fix your computer for free if something physically goes wrong with it. Like the guy's iPhone, if he needs to take that to Apple and Apple gives him a new one, it's because he's got still a warranty or because he bought Apple Care on it. So everything can't be solved via software or via you fixing a driver. So Apple Care is absolutely still necessary.
Well, the reason I'm asking it here, supposing I'm not exactly sure how to ask the question.
Okay.
What I have is a MacBook Pro 2009, built in 2000.
Yep.
I'm not sure the architecture to program it, build that.
Yep.
Will allow, if I want to put Samsung 250 gigabyte EVO solid state drive in it, will the computer, even if it worked, will it allow it to function as fast as that hard drive is capable? Or is it being hindered by the architecture to build 2009? So,
yeah, I know exactly what you're asking. I'm just trying to think of the best way to, since you had a hard time asking, I'm trying to think of the best way to answer it. So, I'll answer it by a similar story. I was intrigued by Thunderbolt when it first came out. And I'm also always intrigued by, I've shown them many times, little portable hard drives that I can take with me. So the first Thunderbolt portable hard drive I bought, plugged it in, well, of course it worked fine, but it wasn't any faster. It didn't seem any faster than my non-Thunderbolt hard drives. And then it dawned on me. While Thunderbolt is, many times faster than Firewire or USB, it was limited by the speed of the drive that was in it, which was a 5,400 RPM drive. So it wasn't, the drive was the bottleneck at that point. It wasn't going to go any faster, even though Thunderbolt can send the data faster. The drive was only as fast as it was.
Well, this is a faster drive, obviously.
Right. So I'm just saying. So I see what you're saying by the hardware being a limitation of the drive may be able to go faster, but if your Mac, 2009 Mac can't send it or deal with it any faster, then you might not see as much of a benefit.
And I'm trying to find out whether that's true or not.
Okay.
I don't know that much about it.
Well, 2009 doesn't sound that old. So, yep.
You see, he's looking to whether to put an SSD inside.
Inside, right? Yeah.
Okay, then say again what the model was.
What I have is a MacBook Pro 2000.
Okay, that has an internal SATA drive.
It's a SATA drive, that's right. It's probably a SATA 1. SATA 1. But
then don't buy the most expensive one. You intend to keep it that for a long time. You
no,
can go with the SATA 1 or 2.
I'm not.
But it doesn't hurt to buy the expensive one. It'll work too.
Okay. So let me give you another method of support, just dealing with model numbers and what specs your system had that you bought 5 years ago has on it or whatever. It used to be easy back in the old days where something was called a Mac 2 LC or a Mac 2 SI. There was a specific model number given to your Mac. Now it's just iMac, MacBook Pro, MacBook Pro Retina. Well, this is a MacBook Pro Retina, but this is not the MacBook Pro Retina I would walk in the store and buy today because they've updated it, at least one time since I got this one. So it's hard to even know anymore what you have because Apple doesn't make the initial name of the product, unique anymore. Now, there is a model number associated to everything they make. But most people, it's not even easy to see on the actual device. So here's my favorite tool for just, first of all, figuring out what you have and what specs are on it. As a matter of fact, you can go get it for free. It is on the Mac App Store. So launch your Mac App Store app. And it is called, they make it for iOS as well, but it is called Mac Tracker. So just go to Mac Tracker on the App Store. It's a free download. And I've already downloaded it. I already have it installed. So I just wanted to show you where it was. And now let me launch it. And this app is updated regularly for free. And what it does is keep track of everything Apple's ever made, just about, by category. So if I was looking for his Mac Pro, I would go to Notebooks, or I'm sorry, MacBook Pro. I would go to MacBook Pro, and it's every MacBook Pro that's ever been announced. So he said 2009. Let's scroll down to the 2009s and see. Here's the thing, though. There's a 2009 early. There's a 2009 13-inch mid. There's a 2009. So I'd have to get more information from him to figure out which 2009 he has.
2.93 megahertz processor.
Okay, so it's a mid. 2.93?
Yeah.
All right, it might be. Oh, it could be. It's 15-inch?
Pardon?
15 or 17? 15-inch or
17.
Okay. That would be this one. That makes it easier. All right, so we double click on that one. And then it starts giving us all the kinds of specs about what came with it, what the options were to get with it.
There's the storage option.
Storage options. It came with a choice of either 500 gigabyte, 5400 or 7200 RPM drive, or even an SSD was an option back then.
Would you scroll back up to the top where it says MacBook Pro? Joe's number.
5.2 or 5.2.
Yeah, I will give you a reference point. This is a MacBook Pro 3.1. It has an OWC SSD in it. Made it like a new machine. Works fine. So, and that's a lot newer machine, so that's a lot newer machine. So it shouldn't be any problem. This has been in 2007 according to MacTrack.
Okay, thanks.
Now, another thing that people get caught on, especially with an older computer that they want to now upgrade, like he wants to put a new drive in, a lot of times people just want to put more RAM in. So the first thing you need to know is how much RAM can yours hold? Just because it has 2 slots and they sell 16 gig DIMMs now doesn't mean yours can take 32 gigs of RAM. So if we look right here, this one can only address 8 gigs. Don't care what you buy for it, it's only going to see 8. So there's no sense buying more than 2 4s to make up 8 because it's not going to see more than 8. Now in some cases, Apple will set a limit, like they'll say it can only do 8, but really the machine itself technically can do 16. This will tell you. It will say Apple says 8, but really it can do 16, and you can go get 16 and it will work fine. It's just Apple will say what they have tested, and they don't go back and test older machines when new RAM comes out. So you will see those numbers as well. So Mac Tracker, worth its weight in gold.
When you're using MacTracker to query it, does it know which machine you're using?
Yeah, there is a feature, I think it says current machine or this machine. Yeah, this Mac. So it tells me what I have. Why is it telling me 2?
Can you differentiate?
Oh, okay. So it's saying I have one of these 2, which I'm trying to debate now. Which one do I have?
If you're running Mavericks, it's easy to tell.
Okay.
Go up to the Apple and hit about this Mac, and then hit more info. And right underneath, which is MacBook Pro, it'll tell you which one it is. I did 2012. I just did
Mid 2012.
Now operating 10.6. The top one. It's there.
Yep, so it's this one. So it's time. Thanks, it's time for a new machine. Okay. Proof. It's just, I can't believe I'm even working on this ancient thing. All right.
Yeah, there's another site called everymac.com. They do the same thing. They've got a ton of.
Yeah. I like Mac Tracker because I don't have to be online to use it. It's always worked great for me. I'm sure there's sites out there like you're mentioning that do it too. And like I said, they also have a free iPhone, iPad app as well.
Can I ask another question about a topic?
Sure.
I recently bought a Epson 4-in-1 printer. One of the features is fax, which I seldom use, but I plug it in anyways into the wall.
Yep.
The printer works fine, except when somebody calls, and then it knocks the printer off, somehow thinking or other that I'm trying to fax. So the only thing I could think of doing was unplugging the printer from the wall. Phone. Is there any way to leave it plugged in so it will only fax when I want to?
Yeah, usually most fax machines are fax/printers. I'm sorry, I had a time loop there for a minute. Most fax machines have a manual receive mode, meaning that so it won't auto answer the phone. So you just need to switch it, however yours is set up, off automatic answer to manual. That way it won't answer the phone when it rings, but you can still send one if you want to. Yep. Okay.
Or you set it. Go back to the Google page for a second.
Which page?
Google.
Yep.
So just for a little further helpful hint, somebody was talking about how far back to search. When you're searching for something in Google, just pick a topic, whatever, Terry, iPhones, whatever. And then search for it. Underneath, you can see. Finish this typing, hit return. See where it says web, shopping images? If you go under search tools, to the right, you can narrow down your timing. So if you only want to search for topics, if you're looking for a news article, for example, that you knew aired within the last week or two, or something, you can change it to the past month, the past week, you can pick a timing.
Cool.
So that's actually a really nice way to narrow things down. And the other thing is if you know a specific site you want to search on, and you don't want to just generically search Google, at the end of that, whatever that topic is, you can put the URL : site, and it will only search that site for the topic that you're searching.
So, like here, : site.
Site.
I don't believe you.
Or site : sorry.
Site : oh, okay, got it.
Site : very light.
Or work with, if you don't want that, it's like, you put a minus sign, right?
Hang on. Let's see what that does. Yep. There, nope. Should, didn't, but I believe you. I might not have called it Nomad. Yeah. There it is. So it did work. Cool. Learn something new every day.
I have an old printer drive that keeps popping up saying, "Oh, do you want to renew me?" How do we get rid of that?
An old printer driver that pops up and says, "Do you want to renew me?" How do you get rid of it? Well, it's either one of two things. It's either in your system preferences as a startup item, like I mentioned earlier. Login item, I mean. So see if anything regarding your printer is showing up there. And last but not least, if you go to printers and scanners and remove it from here.
Question about, now that I'm buying software through the App Store, CD, now it seems like when I buy something, it just always updates. It never really gets to the point where I have to say, okay, now this is a new version. Recently I bought Final Cut Pro online, and then they just did an update. And they changed something pretty dramatic as far as media management goes. So I had a question. I had to call out support. So you bought this software too long ago. It's updated now. This didn't used to be. Now they didn't support it. I'm curious. Now that you're buying things through the App Store, and they just do update and automatic update, how long do you have to get like 507 and it just continues forever, or is it point you have to say this is a new version of it? I'm just curious how that works.
Okay, so his question revolves around now that we get most of our software, or most of our new software, I should say, online, whether it's you buy it from the company and download it directly, or you go to the Mac App Store or iOS App Store. And in many cases, these companies are being very generous, meaning they will give you buy it once or download it once, and you keep getting feature updates along the way. But at what point does your support end on that version you got 2 years ago that's just been getting updates for the last 2 years, to where they now, when you call them, say, well, that's 2 years old, but you've been getting updates every month or every 2 months or 3 months on that app. And that's going to vary company by company. Now, I know some companies, like we talked about this app a few times, 1Password. So 1Password was like that. Version 3, every time they came out with a new update, just download it, install it, new update, done, you're on version 3. But at one point, they did come out with version 4. And version 4 was an upgrade with an upgrade price, a new version that starts all over again. You can still use version 3 all you want. So it was a separate new app. So it depends on the company. Some will, drive a stake in the ground and say, okay, from this point forward, this is the new version. That's now version 4, 5, whatever, and some won't. Now, Apple, for example, has gotten pretty much away from version numbers. They basically, it's iPhoto. Now, behind the scenes, there is a version number. There's iPhoto 9 and iPhoto 10, whatever, but they don't necessarily, again, call it that when they show it on the App Store. Some they do, some they don't. So, Apple's a hard one because so much stuff they're giving away now, and so it's hard to even say, well, I need support on iPhoto, without them saying what iPhoto. It's the iPhoto you got 3 years ago is the one you just downloaded today. But with something like the paid app like Final Cut, and do they sell a separate support program for it?
It's 90 days once you.
But I mean, after that, can you buy support for it?
Yeah, you can buy it.
Okay. So it sounds like that's what since that's more of a professional tool, that's where they're headed with that.
90 days at first, and then after that, after your first call, it's 90 days from that first call you make. And then after that, you have to pay.
Or go online. Yeah. Go ahead and then over to Chuck.
Yeah. Regarding printer drivers, a couple of years ago, I was really getting, and I still am, tired of the extra excessive price you pay for ink cartridge refills, because they're pretty expensive. And I discovered or remembered that I had a really old HP laser printer.
Yep.
It's old, maybe 20 years old. I don't
That's
know.
old.
And so I thought, I wonder if it still works. So I turned it on and fired up, and of course I went, it's a parallel printer. And so I made a cable from a MacBook Pro, mid-2010.
Do they not have Kinko's in Cleveland? Just sorry, bad joke. I said, do they not have Kinko's in Cleveland? I'll just go on. So you made a cable.
I made a cable, serial to parallel, so I made one. Anyway, I hooked it up to the printer, and it came up, and it recognized the computer, but it says, invalid printer driver. So I went to the Apple site, and they said they don't support it anymore. Okay, I don't know why, it's only 20 years old. But you know what, I can't find it, here's my question, I can't find this. And I did find a site in Germany that makes the printer drivers for that application. But it was all in German. But I was able to find the driver, and I can no longer find the site. And I wondered, because the driver doesn't seem to work anymore, I need to re-download it. It was a zip file. And I wonder if anybody has any idea what that site would be in Germany.
Are you talking about UScan? By Ed Hamlin?
What is it?
UScan by Ed Hamlin?
That sounds familiar. I can't remember what it is.
And then there was PC Magazine German version, which had the download for UScan, but I don't remember what version it was.
VU?
VUE, capital SC.
That kind of sounds familiar.
You don't still have the zip file?
It was a zip file.
Yeah, if you go far enough back, there will be a zip and zip.
I actually got to work, so I was real happy. I had extra laser printer cartridge, which is worse than one. They last a long time.
Tailgating on that question, has anybody really had experience other than his with UScan? Because they've got a standard and a pro version, and I'm wondering, have they really found any shortcomings in the program?
No one?
I had success with a Nikon 2000 scanner. That was a few years back, but it seemed to work fine.
Did it give you all the options that the original stuff did?
Well, the original stuff was Nikon software, and that didn't give me anything except paint.
So Terry, if you in Google, if you're logged in, if you Google search your Google history, it'll bring up every Google search you've ever done since you've been logged into your Google account, assuming you've done your Google search while you're logged in.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have a Google account and you're logged in and you search, you can go back through every Google search you've ever done and find that.
How do you get to that again?
Google search. granted, be careful, it can scare you what you've searched for in the past couple of years.
Which is why I'm not bringing mine up right now. I'm not going to take that chance.
I have a question. I have most of my photograph collection in aperture. I'm going to switch to Lightroom now.
Okay.
But most of it is in, I want to get the originals out of that storage that they put in Apple.
Okay.
They have. So how do I make the transition?
All right, so his question is, how does he make the transition from Aperture's storage mechanism or storage method of photos to Lightroom? And the simplest, easiest answer I can give you is that Lightroom is sitting there waiting for you ready to go as long as your pictures are in folders. So what you'd have to do is if your pictures are in some weird database, application, whatever, is export them from that application to standard folders, and then you can import them right into Lightroom. Or you could read a step-by-step on how to do it. Imagine if we could go back in time and have had this maybe 10 years ago, people would be burning you as a witch to be able to have these answers. It's like, oh, you want to know this? Here you go. You'd be a genius. Go ahead.
You might have already answered. I renewed my ambrosia or updated my ambrosia. And then they've got a menu thing that pops up every time. How do I get rid of that?
Ambrosia software, which particular one?
Put copying the screen and first line.
Snaps Pro. So what's popping up?
Oh, they've got an introductory, I don't know what to call it. The little thing.
The trial? Is it a trial offer or something?
No. You know how sometimes things come up, with these companies, like right away, and you can ask me about where I want to start.
Oh, it's like a getting started or tutorial?
No.
Then what is it? It's not an ad, not a tutorial. What is it?
I think it's just a dialog box that says starting up.
Yeah, that
goes
was
by itself, but it makes Snaps Pro seem to take longer than the other.
It never goes.
Well, it doesn't go away.
It stays on your screen until you do what?
It never leaves.
It's in the startup menu. I have that same program when you start and it comes up and it snaps and it turns on and it comes.
Right, but then it goes away.
It's in the startup.
Yeah, but I've never seen it stay. I mean, yeah, you're right. Snaps Pro does have a dialog box when you boot up your computer because it's loading as a startup item. But then it goes away.
Yeah.
You're saying yours is staying there. That's where I'm confused.
Yeah. Well, sometimes those things happen. I'm sorry if I don't have the right word. They'll put it on the screen, and so I'm just saying when something loads like that, how do you get rid of something that they programmed to pop up? The reason I can't answer you is I ignored it.
Isn't there a click OK button or on that screen?
It's one of those things asking me what I want to do.
Yeah, but there should be a place where you can say what you want to do.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Well, you have to go into preferences.
Bring your laptop next month.
No, you go into preferences of the software. You may have it open up in the preferences of the software itself. You may have a tab there.
That's my question.
Okay, so you have to go into the software and go into the preference. Keep it from opening up.
All right, so can I get rid of the splash screen? Yes, there's a terminal command to type in.
Did you Google that?
Magic.
Our name is a witch.
No, magic. This is what I do all day when I want to know something. I just ask.
Terry.
So, by the way, sometimes it frustrates me, sometimes I just laugh at it. But when people send me a question, email, social media, whatever, even text, 9 times out of 10, the exact same thing they sent me, I will just copy and paste into Google and send them back the results.
We're telling all our secrets.
So if they had just done that, they would be getting the same thing that I'm sending them back. And here's a good site to tease people with that.
But you sorted through the answers for them.
No, I did not. So there's a website that's called, let me Google that for you. Snaps. And I only send this to people I know. So what that will give you is a link to send them. So when they ask you a question, you go ahead and go to this site and do it, and it will give you a link. And then when you get ready to respond and you send them back that link and they click on it or type it in, this is what they get.
So, just like they could have
Oh,
instruction.
so hard.
Trying to get the point across.
Right. I like how it animates typing it in, clicking search. Here are the results. And these are the real results. So if you're going to send me a question, and you're sending it worded perfectly too. Copy, paste, here you go.
Does Adobe have a product or a combination of products that will do this? I want to create some tutorials, 3D tutorials on karate forms, where you can, I don't know if PDFs will do this or what, where you can turn it around, see the person in that form from different directions, and maybe even have call-outs pointing to various things as the form is going on, like the foot is here, this is so many inches from this. Is there anything that you can, create like that? I know I can do the 3D animation. I got programs for that.
Well, Acrobat does allow you to put in 3D objects into a PDF. But it would just be basically a 3D object. People would be able to turn it around. But as far as call-outs and everything, that would be something you'd have to do in another program. So you'd have to do that. You could do that in Photoshop. You can, as people are turning, I guess you could have it turn on layers. I've never tried that, but I imagine it should work. As far as making it an actual tutorial, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the app. I can't Google it because I can't think of the name of it. But it is called, if I see the name of it, I'll know it. Creative Cloud. It is called Captivate. That's it. Yep. So Adobe Captivate is a tool that lets you build computer-based tutorials or computer-based walkthroughs or recordings or basically everything you're trying to do, with the exception I don't know what it does for 3D. So that might be the only stumbling block. You could do that. But Captivate would be the product you're asking for from Adobe.
Can you put that on the web?
I believe so. I haven't used Captivate enough to know, and especially in its new form.
Okay, thanks.
Right. But you can Google Captivate and learn more about it.
Yeah, in terms of trying to find stuff in Google, when you have multiple items that you need to tie together.
Yep.
Is it better to use the and, or, nor, not, or do you use the plus sign?
So his question is, back in the old days, if you were trying to search for multiple things that you need to tie together, like Macintosh, Sony, NEX5, camera, flash, SD card. You would do quotes and plus signs and all kinds of things. Now you would just ask your question. I'm using a Sony NEX on a Mac and I need to know how to pop up the, pop up the flash and use my SD card. Type it all in. It will figure all that out for you. You don't have to struggle with that anymore. So ask it the same way you would ask anyone else. Any other support? How do I get help kind of questions?
Terry, the hint I suggested was you can find out when your machine was built and some other information from it, like service contracts, by using the serial number. So if you copy your serial number from your Get Info, and then go to supportprofiles.apple.com.
Well, you have just profile here. So is it support profile?
Yeah.
Sign in with your Apple ID.
Okay. Well, anyway,
and then
somewhere in there you can give it the serial number. That looks a little different than the screen that I got when I last did that. The other one that you can use it on is www.chipmunk.nl. MUNK.nl. You notice there's a form there that says something about serial number. Find the serial number.
Hang on, before we do that. The person that said, hey, I'm looking for that driver, but the page was in German. If you're using, depending on the browser you're using, most browsers now, well, I won't say most. Google Chrome offers to translate it for you. So I can say, hey, I don't understand Dutch. Translate this into English. Yes.
So that lower right URL should be serial number. Down below that.
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Yeah, that was it. Now, if you put in your serial number there, that'll tell you a lot of things about your Mac, including when it was built, and what factory, and some of the other parameters that you get, like for Mac Tracker, except Mac Tracker doesn't know when your box was built.
Now, this is interesting. It brings up a, how should I say it, security concern. Would I care if someone knew a serial number but didn't know anything else about me? Probably not, because they could probably figure out a serial number anyway, because they're in a range. But if before you venture off onto unknown Dutch foreign sites and start entering lots of information, be leery about what you're giving them. Now, like I said, a serial number is probably pretty safe because it's nothing someone couldn't figure out or guess. But if it asks for more than my serial number, like my serial number and my name, my serial number and my email address, or my serial number and something that ties it directly to me, then I probably wouldn't do it. So just be leery of sites that offer you the world for your information, because why would they be doing it?
Go to apple.com/support, and at the bottom you can do check service and support coverage. Scroll down the bottom of that. Very first part of the column. Support coverage.
Left column.
No, I was just scrolling. I wasn't left column. Oh, bottom. Got it. Okay. Yep.
And then that's Apple's search.
Yeah. Now, see, this I don't feel leery about because it's actually Apple.
Much information about some of the third parties.
Right.
But that'll tell you if your Apple Care is still, if it's a valid service.
All right. Now I'm curious. This Mac. More info.
Don't double click.
Not always.
Big red letters.
So if you break it, it still can be fixed.
Darn it. I was hoping to accidentally drop it somewhere. Get a new one. All right. So.
Depends on how big a height you drop it.
That's just true.
When you shoot raw in camera, how close is that to 4K? Or is it comparable, or is it?
So 4K resolution. It's having 4,000 by what? 4,000? Okay, so
basically my question is, if you use different cameras, do they come with different specs as it relates to raw versus pixel?
well, really, it's the megapixels. So, for example, what am I trying to say?
So if I shot in the Sony or
well, again, it doesn't matter the model. It starts with how many megapixels does that camera capture? Is it a 24 megapixel camera, a 16 megapixel camera, a 12 megapixel camera? Because then you're starting with what the resolution of the image is.
The CCD.
Right.
So I have 24.
Okay, so a 24 megapixel camera is, anyone know off the top of their head? What by what? That's why I said off the top of your head. So here we go. So let's see, 4,000 by 4,000. Let's see what that would be. This is even easier. So 16 megapixel camera or above is 4K.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it should be video.
True. But he said, he's talking video or stills?
No, stills.
Stills, yeah. He said stills. That's why, when he said shooting raw, I'm thinking it's pixels, so 4K is 4,000 pixels, then this would be the equivalent of
I think it said 4,000 pixels horizontally across.
Right.
So then it's a factor of 16. So it's roughly 2,500 times 4,000.
Okay.
Well, I didn't hear that. What did you say?
2,500, but it's 16 by 9 if you're talking video, so it's not even a 16 megapixel camera. So a 10 megapixel camera would give you the size image of a 4K image.
What do you do about color depth?
What are you trying to achieve? Let's start with that, because we can go all into the weeds with this. It depends on what you're trying to do.
No, my question was basically is because I was thinking about investing into a 4K monitor.
Yeah.
And, there's so much limited data on that, so it's worth the investment.
Okay. His question is a 4K computer monitor?
Yeah.
Just to work on?
Yeah, Dell has one for $699.
What are you going to run it with?
Well, Sony, my original question was, if I'm shooting it with a 24 megapixel camera, I can produce those 4K images onto that screen.
Yes.
Okay, what computer?
But what computer, he's asking what computer you're going to drive it with.
Oh, it would be a Mac Pro. It'd probably be a Mac.
Which one?
Mac Pro.
The new one?
No, not the new one. I have the old one, so you're saying...
so you might need a video card that can drive 4K, is what he's saying, what he's hinting at.
Right. And I have that.
Find that first.
Right.
I already have that one.
Okay, so as long as you got a video card that will drive that 4K monitor at 4K, then you're fine.
Make sure it works with that monitor. 4K monitors don't have good standards yet. So not every video card works with every monitor.
The Dell is dual DVI, limited to 30 frames a second.
Okay. If it were my money, I'd wait, unless you're just in a hurry to have a 4K monitor. Right, I'd just wait. And by the way, you're going to 4K, you're going to hear 8K, you're going to hear all these numbers now that we're past HD. And the interesting thing about anything really over 4K is that your human eye can't discern the difference.
You're in red country.
So what's the point? You're gonna, if you're gonna spend, let's say 4K is a round number, $1,000, but you can get an 8K for $2,000. If your eye can't see the difference between the two because it's physically impossible, why would you spend the money?
If it's for Photoshop, you're gonna zoom in to see detail anyway, aren't you?
Okay, we're almost out of time. Any last questions?
Yeah.
So, Rich, did you have a good meeting?
Very much.
Good.
Very happy to do that.
Great. Because there are no refunds. No, just kidding. Just kidding. All right, thank you.
We have a few extra items.
We have extra Photoshop World magazines for those that want them.